Hey Megan, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you? It's so good to see you again.
Yes, haven't seen you in I don't know, has it been like 4 or 5 months or something?
At least the
Yeah,
time's literally flying by, but yeah, it has to be. But it was still really nice where you are. I think last time I talked to you, it was still very warm, which I was very jealous of.
it's really warm now. But now that we're here together on Zoom, like how's my skin looking since I last saw you?
Honestly, you're glowing. You are glowing. How has it been since you're kind of like new products and new routine?
Amazing, amazing. And just to like give everyone listening a bit of context. So Megan and I met because we had a skin consultation, and I was basically just like, anyone who follows me knows like I'm bougie with my skincare. Like I have all my products and I buy the really expensive ones, and like if something's really like luxurious, I'm like, I'll take it, give me 10 bottles. But I was
All the
finding
products.
I was finding myself getting super frustrated because I was buying like amazing products, spending hundreds on my skincare a month. And I was looking at my skin and I was like, for the amount that I spend on skincare products and how much I genuinely care and spend time on and energy on, my skin isn't looking that amazing. Like I had a bit of melasma, like pigmentation or something going on. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to get to the bottom of this. And I came to you and you sorted me out. And my skincare routine is actually like way less expensive now and incredible. So thank you.
Yeah. No, I'm so happy. And I mean, literally, your journey is exactly why we started our business because I was the exact same as you. I actually ended up becoming a skin expert, and that's a whole nother story because I was so passionate about it. But I had the exact same frustration. You're spending so much money on things. You are like, okay, it says it's going to do this, it doesn't do that. Am I mixing the right things together? It's just kind of a minefield. So I'm just so happy that you found us and that we were able to kind of go through the whole process because yeah, it can be very confusing and extremely frustrating.
Yeah, for sure. And skin is such a interesting thing for so many women, like because even if you deeply love yourself and you're doing all this personal development, like it's your face. And so I know like when I was a teenager, I had acne. I had acne when I was quite young and then sort of got through that and it went away. But I have friends of mine who have come off birth control and then had like huge breakouts on their skin, or
Mm.
friends of mine who are, hitting 30 and they didn't use sunscreen and now they're like, what am I going to do? Like, and, as much as you can, work on the inner work and the inner self-love and stuff, we do live in a world where like women like to look good and they like to feel good when they look in the mirror, and also to take care of themselves with their skincare routine. So that's why I wanted to do this episode and dive into the minefield that you said of skincare, because it's like I felt like I was someone who like I researched, do you know what I mean? I wasn't
You knew a
just
lot though. You were like
yeah,
very good. You had like a lot of knowledge when you came already.
yeah.
But yeah, the skin is so complex and there's constantly new products. So it's very like, even if you know everything, it can, change tomorrow. There can be new products or ingredients that come out. So it's kind of hard to keep up with it all.
Yeah, totally. And super frustrating, I guess, if you're dealing with like quite a prominent skin issue or something like hormonal breakouts, and you feel like you're doing all the right things or you think you're doing all the right things and not knowing what it is can be really devastating for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So why don't we start there? Like hormonal breakouts. I know that you were saying to me earlier, this is like such a big, complex thing, and there can be so many reasons for that. But if someone listening is struggling with hormonal breakouts, where do they start? Like what's the first step?
Yeah. So the first step is to try, I think, to identify, where you are in your cycle, and are the hormonal breakouts, does it happen, just in the build up towards your period, or is this kind of a constant thing that's going on throughout the month? Because actually, if it is a constant, then something can be, a bit off balance, and you may need to take the next steps to try to balance your hormones. There are ways that there are holistic ways that people recommend doing this. So there's a lot of dietary things that you can be doing. You can try to cut out, kind of things like dairy, for example, but that's not always, it's not going to automatically eliminate the problem. And for many people, there isn't even a connection between dairy and acne and those kind of hormonal breakouts. So there's still a lot of research that needs to be done in this kind of area. And so some women have hormonal breakouts because they are, on the pill and that pill isn't working for them. And so they may need to then come off and try kind of an alternative form of contraception, while others may actually be wanting to go on the pill to try to balance things out even for a period of time and then, come off of it, a little bit later. So that's kind of one thing to just note, what hormones are you actually putting into your body, or, are you putting any hormones into your body at all? The diet as well is something, there's so much online about what you can be doing in terms of diet. But like I had mentioned, dairy, and then also ensuring that you, with your diet, if you have gone vegan, or if you, have had any just general dietary changes, that you're supplementing correctly, so that you're making sure that it's that it is something that's hormonal and not just something to do with your diet kind of being off. And I think I would stay away from things like facial mapping. So a lot of people are saying, oh, I have hormonal breakouts because it's in this area of my skin, but actually that's not accurate really. And so I think that that's something to just note, that you really need to track your period and make sure that this is kind of like a hormonal thing, before just automatically saying it's because it's on this area of my face that I know it's hormonal. Mm-hmm. Other things that you can do is audit your skincare. So make sure that you, are using the right skincare for you. And I think that really it's about knowing your body. And so I know that you talk a lot about, this kind of thing, and you're very holistic in your approach to your body and your well-being. But I think that it's really about knowing your body and kind of being able to track and start to be conscious and pay attention to what's going on and how different elements, whether it be the contraceptive pill, your diet, your skincare, how that's impacting your skin. But it is a huge subject. I could probably talk about it for 4 days, but that's just kind of a little intro, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And is it true that when you say someone goes on the pill to, like, let's say, fix their skin in inverted commas, and then obviously there can be that anxiety that comes when it's like, okay, I want to come off the pill because I want to go holistic, or I want to get pregnant. And then there's that like anxiety because, the skin stuff comes back. From my understanding, and you'll be able to tell me if I'm correct or not, it's like the pill is like blocking the sebum or like blocking something in the face. And so then obviously when you come off it, then it like reemerges.
So it's all about, the pill is kind of balancing. Well, if the pill is working, it's usually the combo pill that is working kind of for the skin in terms of like kind of, prevents that excess sebum from being produced every month, because we produce more sebum in the buildup to our period. Sometimes we get that kind of greasy feeling, just before your period, you're like, oh, I just feel so like greasy and, like, oh, and
doubting yourself and greasy as fuck.
Yeah. You're just like, oh God, this is not a good place to be. You're like bloated, but yeah, you get that kind of, I guess week or two, or even a couple of days just before your period where that happens. And so, the pill will just keep things, will keep things in check. And so while the combination pill, at least they all work differently. So it's, I don't want to just like generalize, but the combination pill works in that way to kind of even things out. So then when you come off of the pill, things can start to go a little bit haywire, and your hormones are just trying to kind of rebalance and figure out what's going on, because it's been kind of tightly regulated, and then you come off of it and it's no longer the case anymore. And so it does take a little bit of time just to recalibrate. So I would really give it about 6 months. And if you're still having, real skin issues, then I would recommend seeing a dermatologist. You can of course come to us, but if it is, if you've come off the pill and you're having those breakouts, then it's hormones. So that's a very telltale sign that that's the reason that that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. The other thing that I wanted to dive into is like, what's the reason, or what are some of the reasons why people should come and get a skin consult with you? So like, or with anyone, because for example, that's obviously what I did. And we already said, like, it helped me to basically like save time, money, energy, and clear up all of like the confusion. But I know that you get a lot of people who just message you and they're like, why can't you just tell me what products I need? Like, isn't it simple? Obviously, this is like your life's work and it's not that simple. So
I wish it was. Truly, I wish that we lived in a world where you could take a quiz online and it would just spit out some products and that would be the answer. But unfortunately, the skin, I mean, like I was just saying about hormonal breakouts, what's causing it, you know, all of those things. It's for you, I would have to go through I did go through 45 minutes with you just to understand and really to scratch the surface of your skin history, you know, what you're using on your skin, your daily habits, your diet, your lifestyle, any kind of hormonal things that might be going on, all of that. And so you can't get that through just like an online quiz. You can't get that, really just typing with someone on a chat, you know, or in an Instagram DM. You need to understand their vibe. I need to even understand what their energy is. And I know that sounds a bit woo, but like when people come on, you know, a video call with me for their consultation, I can immediately kind of understand the type of person they are. You know, do they seem a little bit stressed? Are they very chill and relaxed? Because these are all things that can impact your skin. You know, I'm a very high stress individual. So by nature, I have more inflammation in my body. I don't sleep very well. That's going to impact my skin. And so those little nuances that I'm looking out for are super important. And it's why, you know, a lot of people think that you can just do a little quiz online, but there's more to that. It needs to be the human touch.
Yeah, I feel you. We feel you. Everyone who listens to this podcast is weird. So they get the energy piece for sure. I know you also get like these sort of frequently asked questions of like, does drinking enough water really affect your skin? Like, do you need to wash your face every day? Like, which to me, I'm like, of course you do. Like, you got to like take care of yourself. But, you know, are these things that they seem very simple, but like they're quite important, right?
So important. Honestly, little teeny tiny habits that you have throughout your day can have a huge impact on your skin. So an example of this would be, we had a client who every time that they worked out, they came and they would lay down on the sofa afterwards and, you know, not shower before they did that. And, you know, they were having kind of breakouts on a specific part of the face. And it was from that little habit that they had of not washing their face, you know, and laying on the same sofa cushions that had not been washed. So little things like that, or having a cuddly toy. I know that some of us still have them in our bed that we haven't washed, you know, it's all up against your face, like throughout the night, you're sweating. Things like that can actually have a huge impact on the skin. And so yes, the habits that you have every day and the little things that you do, can have a big impact. And it's important to be able to pinpoint those little things.
Yeah, for sure. Even like my husband always like tries to like pinch my cheek when I've done my skincare routine. And he learned like so quickly, I'm like, you're not allowed to touch my face. Cause I kept asking him, like, have you washed your hands? And he's like, well, like, no. And I'm like, hands off, baby. So he's like always goes to touch it. And I'm like, you're not allowed. Like, I don't want dirt on my face. Sorry about that.
No, it's true though. And even it's so funny because there's a few people who will come and we will even ask questions like, oh, someone will mention like, oh yeah, I just started dating this guy, and I'm having like these breakouts, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, well, are you taking your skincare routine every time that you go stay with your boyfriend? And they're like, well, no, I'm using their like, you know, bullfrog or whatever it is that they're using. And I'm like, oh, okay. So how many nights a week is that? And they're like, oh, like 3 or 4 nights a week now, you know, it's like new, you know, and you're like, well, that's therein lies the issue. You're not using your skincare routine every night. You're not washing your face. And also you're like sleeping on his, you know, sweaty chest every night. So there you go.
Using his like 4-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, body wash, face wash in one.
You know, I've been there though. I have been there where you're there and you're like, okay, I have to wash my face. What is in this bathroom that is like even remotely okay to put on my face? But usually there's nothing.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, totally. It's like sometimes I just think it's so unfair. My dad is like in his 60s, looks so young, and his whole life he has washed his face with a bar of soap and like Vaseline moisturizer. And I'm like, dude, what's the secret?
Yeah. How? Honestly, how? But it's just some, you know, and there's that too, genetics. Like part of it is that you can do so much with skincare, but part of it is, you know, if you have good genetics, and it's one of those things.
True.
Some people
True
just walk in the light, you know?
The blessed ones.
The blessed ones.
Yeah. So the other question that I know, like, this is just fucking everyone up, is like, what order do we put products on? Like, I never knew that. I was like, do I do retinol first? Do I do hyaluronic acid? Like, you know, this mask that I bought because someone else like
Someone
recommended
said,
it, like some influencer did a swipe up. Like, how do I use everything? And I know that obviously like there's different ingredients and things. And so like those ingredients are mixing on your face. So like, what's the general order that you would say to use like the main skincare products in?
Yeah. So generally speaking, you're going to go from kind of thinnest to thickest. However, there's always, to make things complicated, exceptions to the rules. And that is where treatments come in. And so, for example, in the morning, you would want to wash your face, whether that be with a cleanser or just with water, or, you know, maybe you get a lukewarm kind of muslin and rinse your face off from, you know, sweating through the night, because we do. So you need to wash your face in the morning. And then you would want to put on maybe an antioxidant serum. And so if that antioxidant serum is a bit thicker than your hydrating serum, for example, you would still put that antioxidant on first, because it is a treatment. Technically, that's your kind of treatment serum. So I would say, generally speaking, the order that we recommend doing things would be to cleanse, do your treatment, whether that be antioxidant or, like you kind of said, retinol, then a hydrating serum, and then your moisturizer. That's the general rule. In daytime, you would focus on antioxidant, hydrating serum, moisturizer, SPF. And then at nighttime, you would want to do a cleanser and exfoliant a couple times a week, a treatment serum, whether that be retinol, whether that be a niacinamide or azelaic acid or something. And then you would want to finish off with a hydrating serum and moisturizer, again, depending on your skin type, but that's the general order. And I've left out eye cream there because I'm really not a big fan of eye cream. I think that they are an extra step that you don't necessarily need in your routine, unless you kind of want to treat yourself every once in a while. So you can treat yourself, but not an essential.
Yeah, there's no eye cream in my routine, but I can't say that I miss dabbing it onto my eyes. I quite like a few little crow's feet, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think it looks quite
little
nice
smile
on a
lines.
woman. Yeah. But speaking of lines, like, this is the thing that all my friends have sort of been dealing with the last few years, you know, being, you know, my friends are sort of ranging between like 25 to 35 years old. And obviously this is when we start to see aging and wanting to like take care of our skin and fine lines and protecting our skin. So, you know, the thing that people are sort of always going back and forth, like, do I use retinol? Do I get Botox? Like, what can I do to prevent these lines? And I know for me, when I first started seeing my lines, even though I'm like someone who talks a lot about, you know, inner self-love and stuff like that, it was like, okay, wow, there's suddenly these lines on my face. I'm getting old. And I was like, okay, like, what do I need to do about this? Or how can I like slow this down, or like just take care of my skin? So when do we start to see fine lines on the face? And like, what do you recommend, like, in terms of keeping those at bay?
Yeah. So it will really vary depending on the person. And we kind of touched on genetics. But, you know, some people will just tend to have fine lines and wrinkles a little bit earlier than others. If you have dry skin, typically these will show up a little bit sooner. But the things that you can do, so the number one thing to do is to protect your skin against sun damage. And so wearing SPF every day is like an incredible way to prevent those fine lines and wrinkles from forming, because the sun breaks down collagen and elastin in the skin. We'll start to see that collagen and elastin deteriorate around 25. So it's a little bit depressing, but you know, it's a good thing. It's a privilege to grow old and all of that. But I think in terms of introducing retinol is an incredible ingredient, but not all people can use it. So I can use it. I can use retinol palmitate that is in formulations, but I can't use like a tretinoin or, you know, a kind of intense retinol because I have rosacea and it just doesn't work for me at this point in time. Maybe when I'm a bit older, my skin will be a little bit more resilient, but there isn't a specific age that you should necessarily start using retinol. It's all about your own skin. So listen to your skin, don't feel pressured, and don't, make your skin peel off because you feel like, oh, I just turned 27 and, so-and-so said I had to use retinol at 27. Just listen to your skin. Now, in terms of other ways that you can prevent wrinkles from forming, I mean, Botox is one way to kind of eliminate wrinkles, even if they're already there. I've actually had Botox myself. So I've had it in between my eyes on my forehead. And now I do get a little bit around the eyes because my face was moving a lot. It's not something that I go out and just recommend immediately to a client unless they bring it up. Then I'm not going to make that as a suggestion because we're really focused on skincare. But I just have to be transparent about my own experience. And I do really like the effect of it. It's we can't fight gravity with skincare, and there are limitations. You're not going to reverse the signs of aging with skincare. You can definitely soften those fine lines, soften those wrinkles, and protect the skin from aging quicker than it needs to. But Botox it's a different ballgame. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah, I get people DMing me about this all the time. Like, I had someone, like a friend of mine, message me recently, and she was like asking for my advice, and she was beside herself because she was just like really sad about getting lines on her face. And she was like, she's been on this long self-love journey. And so she was really like wanting Botox, but like beating herself up about it, thinking like, oh, well, it must mean that I don't love myself. And I just said to her, I was like, babe, like, what's going to make you feel like
Better.
confident? What's going to make you feel good? And like, maybe there are some like deeper root issues there that like she can also work on. But, when people ask me about, plastic surgery or, Botox or, I don't know, filters on Instagram or whatever, I just think like not everything is like inherently negative. It's about like your intentions, and some things do make you feel more confident. Like, I know for me, I had my teeth fixed and it made me feel so good about my smile. I've had Botox. I loved it. If I could never get it again, I wouldn't be depressed and like not leaving the house. Do you know what I mean? So
Exactly.
just like,
it's something that like, it's like getting a really nice, like facial treatment makes me feel really good. Like right after I get my Botox, because I do it like twice a year, I feel like $1,000,000. And so, yes, I work in the skincare world. Do I feel pressured to do it? Absolutely not. But I want to because it makes me feel better. And so I haven't had any other kind of tweaks or anything done, but I'm not going to, say that that's never going to be a thing for me. I think that it's really a personal choice. And I don't think that it's, our place as, a company, our business. It's not our place to make anyone feel bad about doing anything that's going to make them feel better. I definitely think that it's a personal choice. And yeah, my own personal experience has been great with it, I just have to say.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and I said this to my friend as well. I was like, so many people get Botox and just don't admit it. Like, especially even in this more like spiritual world that I'm in, because it's almost a bit taboo because people almost feel, I guess, a bit like a fraud because we talk about this deep spiritual self-love and that sort of thing. But I also believe like we live in an earthly world, and it's okay to like want to have nice clothes or to want to wear makeup or take care of your skin or have Botox, like each to their own. Like for me personally, I wouldn't, for example, get breast implants. That's just a personal choice because I don't want like 2 breast implants in my body. But I'm happy to put a little bit of Botox in every now and then.
Yeah.
Freshen it up. But also if someone doesn't want to do that, if they prefer to actually go internal and be like, I'm going to work on like loving the lines on my face and being fully natural, like I so respect that as well. But it's
Me
just
too,
like
absolutely.
personal freedom, personal choice.
I agree. I completely agree. And I don't think that really one necessarily has to connect to the other. Like I love my skin. I have rosacea, I have an inflammatory condition, and I love my skin. When I'm having a flare up, it does annoy me a little bit, but it doesn't mean I don't still love my skin. It's like I think that you can have both. I think that you can have both.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. my face still moves a lot, but it was just like so expressive. It was like my eyebrows would go so high, but I think my Botox is sort of worn off now anyway, but
it does wear off, and it's
yeah.
kind of a sad day, I have to say, for me. I'm like, oh no, I need to go in for top up, because right when I top up, I feel like I feel really good. I feel like, oh wow, I look so fresh, you know, like I've slept 12 hours or something, which never happens.
Yeah. Yeah. You can tell when, like, I think you can tell when people have had it as well. And like people deny it. And I'm like, I can tell that you've had Botox in your forehead.
Yeah.
Because it's like looking really shiny and it wasn't
It's
looking
looking
like
like there's a reflection off of there. I can see it.
Yeah, totally. And to be honest, like when I first did it, I guess I almost did not have shame around it, but I was like, this isn't really something that I want to proclaim really loudly. But then I was like, you know what? It's better to just be honest. And like, so many people are just not actually being honest that they've, you know, done something because they feel like people will judge them or whatever.
Yeah. I think own it. I think, you know, definitely own it. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's your body and it's your choice, you know, what you want to do. It's the same thing, like even with skincare and stuff. Like I can make all the recommendations in the world, but no one has to take my advice, you know? So I think that it's totally up to you what you want to spend money on, what you want to kind of do with your skin, etc.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people are using Botox for like preventative, right? So they're like trying to prevent their lines from getting deeper, which in a way, isn't it just very similar to using a product like retinol, which is preventing those lines from getting deeper?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the difference with Botox is that it does paralyze the muscle, right? So like you're not creating a line because there's no muscle movement there. Whereas with Botox, I mean with retinol, it's you're increasing skin cell turnover, and it can actually change your skin on a cellular level, which is great. And you know, there's other kind of antioxidant benefits to retinol, so they are different, but I think that like the goal is to minimize fine lines and wrinkles, right? So in that way, like, yes, it's similar. You're wanting to achieve the same goal basically in terms of preventing those lines from happening.
Yeah. Botox is a bit more hectic by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it is a little bit. It's just, you know, but it's going to work. Like we, you know, with retinol, it might take you 3 months to see any difference. And some people might not see that much of a difference because actually it's more cumulative. So like, had you not done it, you probably would have, you know, things would have looked a little bit different. But since you don't know what it would have looked like before, you know what I mean? But like we've said, when your Botox starts to wear off, you're like, oh, there's the line, you know, it's not like that with retinol. It's like this kind of slower moving thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Not so immediate.
Yeah. So moving from Botox to natural skincare, I don't know, like what your thoughts are, but when I was trying to do my own skincare, like a couple of years ago, like as I was before, I went through a period where I bought all organic skincare, and I was like only buying organic skincare, and my skin got really bad. Like I was getting loads of breakouts. I was probably using like incorrect products for myself, but I was just sort of like trying to find beautiful organic products, and maybe they were wrong for me. I think most of the products that I have now are mostly natural that you got me onto. I think like mostly.
Yeah, I think that the word natural in skincare can be a little bit deceiving, if I'm honest. I think that there's a little bit of this kind of like greenwashing going on in the skincare industry. And so we have to be careful what we say is natural, because it's not a regulated term. And so that's where, you know, even organic actually is a little bit more regulated than natural. But again, you have to check the labeling and see what kind of certifications different products and brands have. But organic was like a kind of food trend. And then people wanted organic skincare products, but it wasn't really as much of a thing. And so the skincare industry kind of followed suit and went into this direction. But I think now the skincare industry is finding this balance between using science and then also, you know, incorporating those natural and active ingredients as well. So I I would love to kind of use more natural products, and I want to be sustainable as well as my skincare. My business partner really loves natural products, but when I say natural, again, it's more about, it could depend on the brand. It really does depend. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's better for the environment. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's better for your skin just because it's natural. So that's important to point out.
Yeah, totally. Some things come in so much packaging as well. It's like, this is
That's so bad.
outrageous. Like, I bought this moisturizer ages ago before I ever met you. Augustina
Spader.
Yeah, it's like
So
250
expensive.
pounds or something. And like the most beautiful bottle, like this beautiful blue bottle, but it was like really thick plastic. There was not even like that much product. Like by the time you got to the center of this bottle, and then it came in this big like box that it looked magnificent, but I was like, this is so unnecessary. Like, I don't need this. And then it came in like all the stuff that it was shipped in. And I was like, this doesn't make me feel good. Like, to see that that's going to be going into the environment every single time I want to use it. Like every single time I go through a bottle.
Yeah. And there have to be better solutions. I do think that a lot of brands are coming up with incredible innovation in terms of sustainability, but also there is an element that is just important to note, that some of these natural products, because they're made in smaller batches, it isn't sustainable the way that they're doing it. And it's not, they're using ingredients that are very rare and it's hard to get a hold of and that kind of thing. So I just think that I would urge people to do a little bit more research in terms of what they want when they say natural. Like, what does that mean to you? What's your definition of it? Because really you need to be the one to define what you're looking for, because brands are going to try to sell you anything. It's business. And I that's what I don't like about the industry, is because there's so much marketing and that's what we're trying to cut through. But at the end of the day, there's a bottom line and there's an investor and someone's trying to make some money. So you just need to be very clear about what your intentions are when you use skincare and what you want in your products and what you don't want. And then you can go and try to find brands that complement that. But I wouldn't be, on a retail website just sorting by natural, because anyone can say that they're natural.
Yeah, it's like the food industry. They're putting natural on a packet of potato chips because
it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Which I think people are much more aware of now. And I think that it's good that, consumers, that we're holding brands responsible. And, there are a lot of good beauty brands, and there are a lot of people that start with great intentions, but it's just, it's misleading. And I think also just for pregnancy as well, just to touch on that, because Ksenia's pregnant, she likes to use more natural products, and the idea of more like kind of a mindful skincare routine, something that's more of a ritual. But she's had to switch a lot of her products because they have essential oils in them, and during pregnancy that's dangerous. So we get a lot of women wanting to make this switch to kind of benefit and be, make it better for the baby, et cetera, et cetera. But it's actually, she's had to go the other way around.
Yeah. And what ingredients should you avoid during pregnancy? Because for me, when I think about getting pregnant at some point, one of the really big things that's I'm going to have to figure that out, is like skincare and products, because it's like a lot of things that I use are natural, very natural things, like on my body and stuff like that. But it's like essential oils, like there's so many random things, and even just random foods that I would probably eat, not knowing that I'm not allowed to eat them.
It's so crazy. I was in Portugal with her and her husband, and it was super nice. And I didn't realize that you really have to also, like with vegetables and stuff, they have to be super well washed. I just didn't realize how much she couldn't eat, and like unpasteurized stuff is like, it has to be pasteurized, or there's, it's really interesting. I had no idea. So there's so much to think about. And she, I think Ksenia, one of her kind of frustrations, which she knows obviously what to use and what not to use, but she still wanted a doctor to kind of, I guess, just give her that extra, approval and say, you can and can't use this, but she didn't really get that. And she just said it was really stressful and hard to navigate. But the things that you definitely have to avoid in terms of skincare are retinol. So that is one that you absolutely need to stay away from, and essential oils as well. BHAs, which are beta hydroxy acid, also willow bark extract it's a derivative of willow bark extract. That's up in the air, but some say that it's better to just avoid that in general, just to be safe. But those are the kind of the main ones.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone's looking like to start exploring more natural products, are there any brands or like products that you love that you're like, yeah, this is amazing?
I love the brand Pi. I think that they do a really good job of being transparent about what's in the products. So I really like them. I really like BABTAC as well. They're a very sustainable brand. They're UK based. 2 female entrepreneurs started the brand. They're really great. So those are 2 that I think we recommend a lot. There's also Evolve Skincare, and there's a great shop in London called Content Beauty Wellbeing, and they have an incredible website that helps you to sort through the kind of different brands and things like that. So that's a website retailer that I would look at.
Amazing. Awesome. Is Skingredients natural? That's my cleanser.
So Skingredients, they're pretty science-based, but the formulations are incredible. I love that brand. I really, really love that brand. Yeah, you're using their PHA cleanser, the purple one.
Yeah, the purple one.
So nice.
And then the hyaluronic acid and Abagi vitamin C.
Really good. I love all of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Those are very results driven.
Yeah. Completely.
Yeah, they're great. Pestle and Mortar is one. It's a vegan brand, actually. Pestle and Mortar, and what is my favorite hydrating serums. And it's another female founder as well, who's actually been we have a podcast too, and she's been on there to talk about the brand. And the ingredients are very high quality, and it's a great brand. So that's one to look at as well.
Amazing. Something that I just thought about that I see people getting really frustrated with is when they get back acne. Is there any, do you get a lot of clients that are having that? I know it can be from conditioner, like running down the back of your back in the shower.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, the first thing to do is to check your shampoo. So, and I would say, if you're using a natural shampoo and you're having back breakouts like big time, then I would switch to a not natural option. I know that that's a bit controversial, but it could definitely be causing it. I actually started using a new brand called Pros, and it's very natural. It's like personalized. I loved what the product did for my hair, obsessed. But I got fully like horrendous breakouts, like massive cystic breakouts on my back, which I've never had ever before. And they've left scars and stuff. And it was the second I stopped using the shampoo, it went away. So definitely check that first. And then another thing that you can use is a thing called Clinisoothe, which is antibacterial and antimicrobial. It's also a vegan brand. And it comes in a spray, and it will help with kind of any inflammation on the skin and breakouts in general. So that's great. And then you can look at body washes that have BHAs in them. So that's willow bark extract, salicylic acid, can be super helpful too. But yeah, definitely look at the clothes you're wearing, look at the shampoo that you're using, and also make sure that you're washing your sheets and that you're using maybe a hypoallergenic detergent, because that can be super helpful as well.
Amazing. Yeah. I see so many people on like Facebook always asking about that and being so frustrated. And I'm like, don't let your shampoo and conditioner wash down your back.
Don't. Yeah, it's really bad. And I think that I probably could have tried to do side washing and stuff like that. But at this point it was so bad. I was like, I just have to cut it out completely, because it's not worth my hair looking good for my back to be scarring. Because I have super curly hair, obviously, and it's a little bit limp right now, but it was doing such good things for my curl. I'm devastated by it.
Maybe you can go back again and you just have to wash your hair upside down.
Yeah, literally like wash it down the side. We tell people to side wash, and I wasn't doing that. So I wasn't taking my own advice.
It's easy to do.
I know, it is easy to do.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. So we've covered so much. If anyone wants to come and book a consult with you or your partner, like what's the best way to get in touch with you? Instagram?
Yeah. So Instagram's great. I think that's how we ended up connecting the first time. So it's LIONNE.Rushworth and that's our Instagram, or you can go to our website, lionne.co, so leone.co. And we have like a matching quiz on our website that matches you to a mentor. So we're all about like matching you with someone who's going to get your vibe. So if you do want to use more organic and natural products, we'll match you with someone who's very familiar with that. If you want to be more sciencey, kind of results driven, which is kind of how that's kind of my philosophy with skincare, then you might match with me. But it's really great. And then you just do the session virtually. We've never actually met in person, which is crazy because I feel like we have, but
yeah, to be honest, so many people that I like know quite well, I realize I have never met in person because of just like the world, how it is, and just the way that online world is. But yeah, I have to say I really enjoyed the way that you laid everything out afterwards as well. Like, so we had the consult, and then I got this link, and it was like this personalized account and page for me with like links to all the products. There's 2 options for every single step of my skincare routine. You link to places that were, available in Spain where I'm living, because I can't get anything from the UK because of Brexit.
So it was so difficult to find stuff
amazing.
that wasn't from the UK. I remember, because it was a Baji. There was a vitamin C that I wanted to recommend, but we needed to get it to you. It's like, so it was, which I think is kind of fun, actually. It's like being Sherlock Holmes with figuring out what you need. And then we go and kind of find everything. And now we actually have a personal shopping service as well. So we actually do, because sometimes we recommend like 3 or 4 different retailers, and people are like, okay, this is going to take me like a whole afternoon to order this stuff. So we do it for you. If you want us to.
I just got my assistant to do it. I like circled the ones I want. I'm like, can you go find these?
Can you please find them? It takes a long time. And we actually have relationships now too with some retailers and stuff, so we can get like good discounts and things like that on products. So it's nice, but we will never stock product because we want to remain unbiased, because then we can recommend kind of any retailer really. But yeah, that's our kind of newest thing, the personal shopping. And you can chat with your mentor too. So like, for example, if you had any issues, you could send me a chat directly on the platform and chat to me then and there.
That's so cool. Yeah.
So
the world needs what you got.
Thank you.
These confused women just trying to have like glowing skin.
I know, it's really like, it's what Ksenia and I wanted and wished that existed. So that's why we did it. So
amazing. Brilliant. Thank you so much, babe. It's been so good to chat to you, and thanks for all your wisdom.
Thank you so much. I'm just so happy to be here. It was so good to see you again.
Yeah.